Hi, everyone. Where's my picture? Oh, sorry. How do I go back? Thank you. That's my picture. Hi, my name is Karina Canales, and I'm very excited to be here in the first Familia Opsai. I am from Lima, Peru. Woo! Go Machu Picchu. Second place, American Cup. I should have, well, there is a Brazilian here, we're friends. I love technology since a very little age. When I was 9 years old, I discovered computers at school. And I loved it so much that by the time I was 13, I already had made my first website. And when I was 15, instead of the traditional quinceañera, I asked my parents to give me a computer. And even though it was a second-hand computer, it was actually the best present I ever received. And that love for technology motivated me to study systems engineering in college. And actually, my first job ever, when I was 19 years old, was as the host of a YouTube show called Tellurica. We started in Google Video in 2006, but then Google acquired YouTube, and so then we moved to YouTube. And I used to give the technology and internet news to Latin America in Spanish. We got to have over 20 million views, that at that time was like really amazing. And I really enjoyed that. I also had other jobs after that, and after 7 years of working in Lima, I decided, okay, it's time to pursue my dream and work in Silicon Valley, the head of the technology industry, right? So I was 27, and I didn't know any word in English, so I decided to study English. I had to study really quickly in 9 months to take the test for the MBA. And this is why I learned English like very late in life, and that's why I have this sexy Sofia Vergara accent. And you know, I finally made it to business school, and I finally made it to Google, and that was a dream come true. But of course, it wasn't easy. I felt like an outsider. I felt like I have to fit in. Here's a visual illustration of what I'm saying. And a lot of the stuff that I was struggling were related to the language, for example, because can you imagine having your entire work professional experience in a different language? So when I was in meetings, people were talking, for example, about YouTube API, application programming interface, and they kept saying that, and I didn't follow. And then in one meeting, I saw it in the slides, and I was like, well, that's API. I know what API means. Is that what you have been talking about the whole time? And so those are the type of things that were a little frustrated because, you know, I couldn't show off my knowledge just because I didn't even know the terms. Another thing that I was also struggling with was the networking, which is so important in the US. In Peru, that's not a thing. I mean, you go to work, you do the best at work, your manager is happy, and that's it. Here, it was a lot about like, oh no, you have to talk to him and there. So I was very struggling with that. And you know, I didn't want to give up. So I relied a lot on my community. This is an example of my community at Google. Of course, Ricardo had to be in the front. And you know, I actually talked to them, and one example is that I told them, please, if I made a mistake in English, I wouldn't get upset, just correct me. That's the only way I can learn. And one example, for one day I go to Google, and you know, one of my friends was like, hey, Karina, how are you? And I was a little sick, so I actually said, not very well, I'm constipated. And so, my friend was like, you're what? And I touched my nose. I was like, I'm constipated. So my friend thought for a second, and then he was like, I think you meant congested. And just to give you the example, it's because in Peru we say constipado when you are congested. And I was just translating. So my friend had literally helped me to improve my English and to avoid embarrassment at work. a different thing was that they gave me a lot of advice when it comes to networking, and they even introduced me to people who went through the same things, and now they're successful, so they could mentor me. And what I'm trying to say is that I worked really hard, but without the support of this community, I wouldn't have been promoted at Google, and I wouldn't have got this job at YouTube after 3 years of working in AdWords. So I know my story is resonating with some of you, not with all of you, because one thing that I also know is that every single person's story is very unique. And just here in this room, I have talked to people that struggle with exactly the opposite, with the Spanish, and to understand the Latin market, with the migration process, people who have struggles because of sexual orientation, skin color, social demographic situation. And so the purpose of sharing my story is to show you how by being vulnerable and not being afraid of saying, this is my problem today, this is what I'm struggling with, can help you a lot. So I want to invite you, all of you, as Isabel taught us yesterday, don't just share your pretty version of your life, share the real one, but more importantly, share your struggles today. You will be so surprised by how many people will come forward, the picture from yesterday, how many people will come forward and help you. And once you get that help, you could also help others. And I feel like that's the only way that we can all grow as a familia. Thank you.